You know, this is fun. I really like this. Jonathan, what is the mystery of the seventh Shemitah?
Every 7 years was the Shemitah year, but every 7 Shemitahs was the 49th or 7th Shemitah ushers in a super Shemitah, which we know as the Jubilee. During the Jubilee, key thing is restoration. Everybody gets restored to their home. You lost your home, you lost your land. Everyone shall return home and get it back. Well, here's the thing. Israel has lost its home for 2,000 years. They were driven out by the Romans. According to end-time prophecy, Messiah can't come again until they come back home. Well, that's a restoration. That's a Jubilee for the people of Jubilee. So could this mystery of the 7th Shemitah, the Jubilee, actually give us the time period, exact parameters of end-time events? And that the answer is amazingly yes. Here's the thing, without going into all the detail. One is the Jubilee has to happen the year after a Shemitah. Has to be. So here it is. Here's the period. It's 1917. This Shemitah determines the period being, it's going to be September 1917, September 1918. What happens during that time? The land of Israel has been in the hands of Muslims for ages. All of a sudden, the Turkish Empire collapses in World War II. The British Empire marches in at that time and takes Jerusalem. Actually, the general, General Allenby, when he was a little boy, every day he prayed, Lord, restore your ancient land to your ancient people. Every day. God used him to fulfill it. So all of a sudden, Israel is in the hands of the British Empire. They say, we give it back to be a Jewish homeland, the Balfour Declaration. When does this restoration, first time in 2,000 years, happens right in the time appointed, this prophetic time, following the sun. Now, what happens if you go 7 Shemitahs into the future? Then when is the next one? The next time period determined is September 1966 to September 1967. Did anything significant happen in restoration? In that time, the Israeli soldiers storm the Lion's Gate, get to the Western Wall, and there they are restored to Jerusalem after 2,000 years. Everyone shall return home in the exact appointed time of restoration, and they sound the shofar. That's Jubilee.
How could anyone be a non-believer when they see how precise these things are?
It has to be. Messiah can't come until that happens. And it's not only we've known, that this happened, but it's actually in the precise time period. And the man who sounds the shofar at the temple is Rabbi Shlomo Goren, born in 1917, the other Jubilee. It's his Jubilee as he sounds Israel's Jubilee. So all these things happen. Now, here's the thing. Does God have to continue? And he doesn't. But if he does, when is the next one? The next cycle? The next 7th Shemitah is the year 2015. This is this cycle. Now, the period that is determined is September 2015 to September 2016. Now again, God can do whatever he pleases. But if it follows the pattern, what it would mean is war. Each time has been war. It will be war in the Middle East, major war, and concerning Israel, ending with the next end time restoration, if it is so. But that's the cycle.
Okay, we have a question, Joseph.
You may have just hit on it, but Terry is asking, do you think that this is the final Jubilee?
The final Jubilee. Well, if the Lord doesn't come in the next 50 years, yes. Let me just say this too. We don't know dogmatically when we don't have records in the temple of when they celebrated that. So it's all, but prophetically, this is where it goes. Prophetically, it's this cycle that goes now to 2015 and 16.
Okay, the thing that is so amazing to me, Jonathan, is we understand these 7-year cycles and how it has affected the economy, the Shemitahs. But Wall Street doesn't know Shemitah from anything, Shemitah from Shmata. But they've come up with the 7-year cycle. How did they come up with it, not even knowing about the 7-year cycle in the Bible?
Well, because it's true and because it's there. It's there. And not all of them have, but you can go on the web and you'll find they charted out. And not only have they charted it out, but they charted out, it's not just a 7-year cycle, it's the 7-year cycle specifically of the Shemitah years. They had no idea what the Shemitah was. When the book came out, they were calling here, or they were putting things on their websites, and even like a few days ago, it says statistician confirms the same thing, Wall Street analyst confirms this 7-year thing. It is because it's real, because it's there. And it's not that it's a dogma that it has to happen every cycle, but it's there.
You know what else I find interesting? You see, Shemitah is a Hebrew word. And so therefore, when you write it in English, you do it phonetically. And there's different ways you can translate from Hebrew to English phonetically. Well, the Jewish press has been jumped on this, and they happen to come up with the same phonetic spelling that Rabbi Jonathan Cahn came up with. You think they're reading your book?
Well, they're here. This article just came last night. They're hearing about all this stuff, and they're saying, I don't know if they know it's from a Messianic Jew, but they're saying, and they're talking about the Jubilee, which is from the Shemitah. Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any questions here?
Yeah, so I'm hoping that I get this name right, but it's Radliak is asking, is the Chinese economic crisis tied to the convergence of the Shemitah and the blood moons? And
Well, it's very interesting. I mean, and again, without being dogmatic about how the Lord does it, but it's interesting because here we are coming to the end of this climax period of the Shemitah. Last two times has been financial collapse. And yet what we're watching, all of a sudden, the world financial system is destabilizing. The Greek crisis happened, and then the Chinese is the stock markets have been free falling for a time. It can go up and down, but this volatility is back. So I would watch it. It's very really fascinating that it's happening at this exact time.
Yeah, I don't know if you can answer this question, but what I'm trying to figure out is why do some people in our country want Iran, who is a sworn enemy of our country, to have an atomic bomb? I don't get it.
Well, I think that this is one of the things about America and Israel, and here's the thing. Here's the Abrahamic covenant. The Abrahamic covenant says that whatever you do to Israel, it's not just if you bless it. Whatever you do to Israel comes back at you. If you put Israel in danger, what will happen to America? If you abandon Israel, what will happen to America? And the president said, we are going to reassess our relationship with Israel. Well, then what will God reassess with America? So I'd be very careful with this. And the other thing, Netanyahu came to Congress and he warned them. And the day he came to Congress, that nightfall was the fast of Esther. That was the exact day that they celebrate Esther coming before the king to warn the king of the danger on his people, on the people. So I believe this is very major, and whatever happens is going to. I'm not afraid so much for Israel. I'm concerned for America because God's with Israel, but whatever you do gets done to you.
Yeah, Obadiah 1:15. As you've done to Israel, it will be done to you. I sure hope the right people are listening to us right now. Joseph, do you have a question?
I do. Mary is asking, do you foresee America becoming an enemy and possibly even going to war with Israel?
I don't see America going to war against Israel in the near future, but I do see the danger of America abandoning Israel and putting Israel in a place of danger, which is just as bad in the end. Commission or omission.
Okay, with America being so morally bankrupt, as you alluded to, and I'll say it, in my lifetime, it would be beyond my wildest dream that the great United States of America would be so morally bankrupt. What's going to happen?
Well, it says righteousness exalts a nation, sin is a reproach to any people. God has especially blessed America more than any nation. But too much is given, much is required. And the Puritans who founded America dedicated it to God and patterned it after ancient Israel. And they said, basically, if we follow God, we'll be the most blessed people on earth. And it came true. But it says, if we turn away from God, the same judgments that came on Israel will come upon us. Well, that's what the Harbinger is revealing, the same judgment. That's what the Shemitah is revealing, the same judgments. If we do, and this is the word Shemitah is a double-edged sword. It not only means release, but it also means the fall, the shaking, and the collapse. And the warning I've given, that if America does not turn back to God, that the American age as we know it will come to an end. It will collapse. The crown that America has worn will collapse. There's already been signs at the beginning of the Shemitah of what may be coming toward that effect. We've already lost our crown as the strongest economic power on earth at the opening weeks of the Shemitah. It has passed to China. Already we are watching a change. And so that is what I believe the future will have for America if we don't turn back.
Okay, you talk about a word called foreshadowings. Explain.
Yeah, well, one of the patterns of the Shemitah is at the beginning, it's mild, tends to be. At the end, it's climactic. If it's going to happen in this cycle, that's the pattern. And so the thing is that the last Shemitah, at the first opening days, were foreshadows of what would happen at the end. Well, with this Shemitah, the same thing, very interesting things have happened. One is the first week the Shemitah began, all of a sudden Wall Street was destabilized for a month. Number two, one of the signs of judgment is the shaking of the earth. Well, an earthquake hits America over 6 on the Richter scale when? On the opening day of the Shemitah. Another sign of judgment is pestilence or plague. On the opening day of the Shemitah, comes Ebola is manifest. Everything on the opening day. There's even been the biblical sign that we talked about before of the seventh cow, which is an amazing thing that happens on the same day.
Okay, another question.